What if you wanted to build an app where your community has the voting power to make decisions? So if you were between hiring a AngularJS developer or a React developer, your community can actually help vote. And not only that, let's take it a step further. People who had more coins in your community, their vote actually held more weight in the decision-making process. So let's say you ask your community, hey, should we hire a React developer? And then John votes for that. And John says, you know what? We should hire a React developer. And John is somebody in your community that has a lot of coins. So he's rich in your community and he makes a decision. And let's say John has like 50,000 coins. And then Bob comes along and Bob says, I'm against React. React sucks. I'm voting against it. But Bob only has 5,000 coins in your community. Now, who will win on that decision? John would, and therefore the proposal to hire a new React developer would actually go through. And imagine even one step further, that developer you wanted to hire automatically got paid as soon as that proposal went through. Now that is a power of Web3, and this is a technology that's shifting the world, and this is powered by blockchain. And I'm going to show you how you can build all of this, even if you're a complete beginner and you've never done anything with Web3. You're going to be able to build this. And what gives you a lot of value as a developer is if you could build things like this or communities like this for other influencers, other creators, other celebrities, and you can give them a community where their community has voting powers, where people can actually earn coins to be able to make decisions and change things. I mean, tomorrow Jay-Z or Rihanna could have a huge community where their people have a voting power. This could monumentally shift the world, and you are at the forefront of learning technology like this. So with that said, I'm excited. Smash that like button so this video goes out to as many people as possible. And hey, by the way, if you don't know me, I'm Rafik Kazi, the CEO and founder of Clever Programmer. I've helped millions of people learn how to code, and my job here is to make you a better developer. Now let's get into a little bit of a deeper dive into this app. So I'm going to open this app up. This app is powered by Next.js. I'm going to connect my wallet with MetaMask. So I'm going to click that and I'll be able to actually log in. Now that I logged in, you could see that it's showing me the front page with proposals. I can make a proposal like hire Next.js dev or hire Angular dev. And once I've made the proposal, you can see it shows me against, for, and abstain. That just means, hey, somebody can vote. You can vote for, do you want to be against this or for this, or do you want to not vote on this at all? Say I go ahead and I say I am for hiring a Next.js developer. And now you could see that, boom, it's asking me to open up my MetaMask. I go ahead and confirm the transaction. And once I do that, you could see, all right, there's, X amount of coins, like 50,000 coins or whatever, delegated towards for, okay? So it's basically what it's doing is it's taking all of my coins in my wallet, my APE coins or my developer DAO coins or whatever, right? And it's delegating them towards the vote, which means that if somebody else comes along and votes, their vote will have more power, if they have more money than me or more coins than me. So how this works is whoever has the most coins, their votes count higher, okay? So this way you have an incentive actually to earn points and credits inside of this community, because the more coins you have, the higher your voting power is. Therefore, the more influence you can make inside of this community. This app is powered by thirdweb. So a lot of the technology will be covered by thirdweb, and it'll make it really easy for us to access everything. Yeah, so with that, all of that said, we're ready to pretty much get started. Here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and in the description below, you're going to see a link that says join.replit.com/cp-DAO. So go ahead, click that link below. That'll take you to Replit, and then go ahead and simply fork this repo or fork this REPL. It doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free to fork. And why I'm asking you to fork is because we're going to be giving away a ton of the assets for this build. So for example, we're giving away all of the front end, the CSS, HTML styling, a lot of the React components, because what I want to focus on is purely the Web3 part of this technology, the blockchain part of this build. Okay, so I don't want to focus too much on let's create these React components again for the 100th time, right? Because we've done so much of that over the last few years. So a lot of that front end is going to be given. So when you fork that Replit, you're already going to have access to all of the components, etc. And then what we're going to do is we're going to code everything step by step. And the way that I've set it up for you, there's exercises, almost exercise-like structure, meaning there's going to be functions that are already there, and then you're going to have to complete it, and we'll complete it and walk through it together. So my goal is that you get a ton of understanding of how this works. You'll be able to hit run, your app will run. Your functionality won't work yet because that's the part you're going to have to add in, and we're going to add all of that part in from scratch. So you will still understand and retain a lot. That said, I'm excited. Let's go ahead, jump in and start coding this bad boy up. All right, so you can go ahead and name your fork whatever you want. So I'm gonna call it instructor because this is gonna be mine. You could go ahead and call it, you know, something completely different. That's totally fine. You could call it project, or you could just leave it as is. That's fine too. Okay. Now, once this is forked, this is gonna be great. We're gonna leave this alone now. And what we're gonna do is set up because what we're going to need is thirdweb for this. So let's go ahead and just set up thirdweb real quick so we can make sure we can start building. Everything on here is completely free. You could see thirdweb is 100% free. So click start. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and click deploy new contract. Okay. And before we do this, here are a couple of things you need to know. Make sure that in your MetaMask, you have you're switched to the Mumbai network. Okay. And how you could do that is, if you don't have that set up yet, just in settings, if you don't have MetaMask, make sure you install and download MetaMask, right? That's step one. But then you can go into advanced and you can go into networks, show test networks, and just turn that to yes. Okay. So once you turn that to yes, you'll be able to go and you'll be able to see all these networks. I want you to switch to Mumbai because Rinkaby will be deprecated soon. So go ahead and do Mumbai. All right. And now you should be in Mumbai. Okay. And then if you don't have Matic, we're going to need to get you Matic. So just go ahead to Mumbai faucet like that. And then click here. Should bring you to this page. And they just need your wallet address. So click your MetaMask account. Click your wallet address and just copy it. Okay. If you just click that button right there, it'll copy it. And paste it right here and hit send me Matic. Okay. For me, since I've already asked it to send me Matic, it has sent me every 24 hours. It has sent me one, but I requested it a few hours ago. So I won't be able to get a new one. But if you put it in, you will be able to get a new one. Okay. And then you should have Matic and you should be good to go on that end. Okay. Now going back to this app over here, let's go back and see. Okay, what it should say is you should have some amount of Matic. So you might have to wait for a little bit. It might take a second. So just be patient. Maybe give it a few minutes if it's taking long. But at some point you should look and you should have Matic. Okay, you're going to need that because otherwise you won't be able to deploy contracts and do the next parts we're going to do. Okay, so once we're done with that, great. Go ahead and hit deploy new contract. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead, click pre-built contracts. And it says, what do you want to build? So we want to build really two things. One, we want to build a token so our community can have money and token and all that. And two, we want to be able to build votes. So then we can have actual proposals and we can have voting powers, etc. So we want to do it in that order. Let's go ahead and build out our tokens first. And then we're going to do our governance and splits, which is where our votes are going to be. So let's click this and we're going to choose token. And inside of our token, I want to choose, I'm going to give it a name. Okay, so I can go ahead and call this the APE Coin DAO. Okay, and you could give it whatever image you want. So I'll probably choose some random image, but you could give it an image of, right? You could give it whatever image you want. Well, that looks like that has a little monkey in it, so I'll just give it that. You should give it like a actual DAO image, so that looks, look cleaner that way. And I'll say the symbol is ape for this. Okay. And now for recipient address, that'll be your wallet address right over here. So those should match. And then the chain, make sure you scroll down and you choose Mumbai and you choose Matic. Okay. Once you do that, we're going to go ahead and click deploy now. that button right there, the deploy now button. Okay, now it pops up our MetaMask. So let's go ahead and hit confirm, and we will hit confirm. And once we're good on that, it's going to take a second, but it's going to then take us to the next page where it's going to say, hey, you're done building out your token. Okay. Once we're done building out our token, all we need to do is make sure that we distribute this token and we give the APE coin to ourselves. All right. Now it took a while, but it popped just this up right here, the second confirmation. So I'm going to go ahead and hit confirm. Okay. And then once that's confirmed, we're pretty much good to go. Okay. So that's still going to take maybe another minute or something, right? 30 seconds, a minute. Let's just wait for it. All right. Now you should see this screen where it says successfully deployed contract. You should see this APE Coin DAO, and go ahead and just hit copy here. So when you click that, it'll copy it to your clipboard. So just make sure you copy it to your clipboard. You don't need to click it 100 times like I did, but I just did it for fun. So make sure that that's copied. You're going to need that for later. Right now, you'll see that the amount of coins that ApeCoin has in total is 0, and owned by you is 0. So we're going to go ahead and mint. So we're going to distribute coins, and you could give as much supply as you want. So we'll just say that there are a total of 1 million coins. I believe that's 1 million. Let's just see. That's not okay. There we go. That should be good. Let's go ahead and mint tokens. Okay, and now it should distribute about 1 million coins to this community. And I think in the start, they're by default owned. They have to be owned by somebody. So they'll just be owned by you in the start. We can make another wallet, and we can send some to another wallet as well. Okay, now we wait. All right, now it says at the bottom, tokens minted successfully. So go ahead and refresh this page now. And pretty soon it should show that there are 1 million coins in total supply. 1 million are owned by you. So let's go to our MetaMask wallet. And now here's what I want you to do. In assets, you see where I have APE. You won't have that there. Okay. So in order to get that to show up, you're going to need to click where it says import tokens. So go ahead and click import tokens, paste that contract address from here. It will automatically say, hey, that's APE, whatever, hit add custom token and hit import tokens. Okay. And now you got all of those. Okay. So you just got all of these APE tokens. Okay. I don't need this one. So I'll hide this one for now. There we go. So this is the one that we just got. Okay. So you have 1 million tokens here. Now, if I had another, I can send these tokens to another person as well. So for example, say I go to this other account that I have, BTSCP2. Okay. That's my second account. You could call it whatever you want. Okay. You just make your own account. And let's send it to this address. So copy the address of this second account, go back to your first account, hit send, paste the address of that, and we're going to send it APE. So I'm going to send it, let's say 300,000 APE. Okay, let's hit next and let's hit confirm. Okay. Now our MetaMask is sending it. And remember, all of this is happening over the test network, right? So this is obviously, none of it is real money just yet, because you should build your apps on test, and then you should take them out to the final versions. I'm just going to click speed up because this is fake money. So I can just keep spending it to speed up the process. So you could hit speed up and hit submit. And what that will do is speed up the process so it happens faster. Now let's go ahead, and I have 700,000 APE coins left. Okay. The confirmation is here that it has been sent. So let's go back to BTSCP2, my second account, and let's also import this contract address. So let's go ahead, copy this. Okay, let's copy this. Let's go ahead, hit import tokens. Let's import the token. All right, AD. Yep. If it doesn't know what the decimal is, just put 18. We'll hit add import tokens. There we go. Okay. So now the 300,000 has been sent. Let's go to our account. Cool. So now you could see that our account 1 has 700,000. And when I switch this account to account 2, that has 300,000. So now inside of our third web, I can see, okay, this is my total supply. This is a total supply, and this is what's actually owned by me. Okay, so there you go. So that's all good. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to deploy a voting contract. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go back to our app. So I'm going to click this home button right here. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and create a new DAO. Okay, so we've made an APE coin. Now, sorry, we just made APE coin. So I just removed all the other contracts because I wanted to make your life simpler so it's easier to understand. Follow this tutorial. So you should only have essentially one contract in here. And right now that should just be your type token. Okay, so this is not going to be the voting one. This is just going to be your token. Okay, so this is your coin. This is the contract address right there. All right, now we're going to go ahead and deploy a new contract. And we're going to choose pre-built contracts. We're going to go ahead and go governance and splits. Let's go ahead, click vote. And then here we're going to call it APE Coin DAO vote. Okay. Now it's going to ask for the token address. You can paste the token address from your coin. Okay. If you lost it, go back and copy it. But that's the token address you need that you had earlier. For voting period, I'm going to just choose 60 because it takes 2 seconds for every block. This is 60 blocks. So that basically means the voting period will last roughly 2 minutes long. Okay, so that's basically what I'm saying there. And then voting quorum, we'll leave this at 0. And we'll leave voting delay at 0 as well. Okay. All right. And then other than that, everything else is good. And then we have our Mumbai Matic chain. Make sure this is the chain you chose. And then just go ahead and click deploy now. So pretty soon this should be all set up and then we'll be coding. Okay, but we just got to get this all set up and then we're ready to code. So hit confirm and then just wait. Might take a couple of seconds, might take a few minutes, but you know, this is the Web3 world. So sometimes you have to wait a little bit. Okay, you're going to get used to that. But in the future, you know, obviously they're going to make all of this much faster and you'll be able to get through it. But right now it takes long because it has a lot of security mechanisms and features built into it. So that ends up taking a second. All right, there we go. So our contract is successfully deployed, as you can see at the bottom. And now it just says, hey, for your voting thing, you're going to need to delegate some stuff. Okay, delegate to create your own proposals or vote on other proposals. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit delegate tokens. Okay. And then it'll pop this thing up right here and hit yes. All I'm saying is my 70,000 or 700,000 that I have, yes, I want that to be delegated towards voting. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to lose my 700,000. Doesn't mean that at all. I still keep all my 700,000 coins. It just means that when I vote, I am voting with the full power of my 700,000 coins. Okay. So that's all that delegating token means. And now that I'm done with that, the delegation is completed. Okay. Well, let's actually just see if it's actually completed or not. So I'm going to click MetaMask. You can see it's pending here. So I could hit speed up, hit submit, and then it'll happen a little bit faster, but it's queued right now. And then once it's actually fully done, when you hit refresh on this page, it won't bother you about that delegation anymore. Okay, so right now I can still see it's pending and it'll take a few seconds, I imagine. Okay, so let's wait for this. All right, now my delegation is complete. I can confirm that from my MetaMask that delegation has happened and I can see my balance here and that weird orange error message or whatever is not showing up anymore. So that's a really good sign. Okay, and this is our APE DAO vote coin address. We're going to need this later. For now, let's just simply head to our homepage and you should be seeing these two contracts that you've created. So one should be a token and one should be a vote. Both of them should be on the Mumbai testnet and then their contract addresses should be right here. So you're going to need this later to copy these contract addresses and use them. With that said, we're ready to go back to our app and start coding. All right, so this is where you should be at right now. Let's just go back to our app, and you should just be seeing it says APE Coin DAO, and then it should say connect with MetaMask. If you try to hit connect with MetaMask right now, you're going to run into an error because we haven't connected anything, because the front end is there, but the app is completely broken right now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and build it out step by step. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to wrap this entire app in a third web provider. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just so you can get the lay of the land before I even continue moving further, okay, you'll notice that index.tsx, like basically this index file, and it's just a next file, so you could write regular next code here. You should be fine. Okay, all of this is already completed for you. Okay, if you go to public or you go to styles, all the styles here are done ahead of time for you. If you go to next config, that's already handled for you. All packages and everything you need to install are already installed for you. So you'll see on the left-hand side, they're all installed that you need, like Toastify, React, thirdweb SDK, all of that, everything is here for you, okay? So we've set up this REPL in a way where you have access to everything that you need. I'm just going to make the font size bigger so it's easier for you to see all the code. Okay. So there you go. So you have already access to pretty much everything. Okay. Let's go like this. Now, inside of the main thing and components, right? We're giving away the header component. We are giving away the so, you know, what's the header component? So we're giving away this header component. We're giving away all of this, the design for this, the components that make up that, right? The proposal card component, the login component, this component right here. Okay. All of that is given away in the front end, and there's not crazy amount of complexity going on there. Okay. This is something you can kind of grasp your mind around, or you could look at previous videos and see how we've done this. So you should be good there. Now, what we're actually going to be coding is if you go into your app TSX, we're going to wrap this in the third web provider. So we're going to be focused just on the Web3 logic. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and think through this, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to wrap the entire app up inside my third web provider. In order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and say import, and we'll say chain ID. And also third web provider. Okay. And we're going to say from, let's say third web dev/React. Okay. So we're going to get chain ID and third web provider. Now we're going to wrap our entire app up inside of that third web provider. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say third web provider, and we're going to give it a desired chain ID. Okay. Now, on line 6, you could see it says a comment here. It says this is a chain ID your dApp will work on. So let's go ahead and set up our active chain ID. And I'm going to say chain ID.Rinkeby. And let's say const right there. Okay, so basically I am from our chain ID. Oh, let's go ahead and go small c here. From our chain ID. Actually, it's a capital C that we're importing. So capital C here. We'll go capital C here. Okay, so now we're importing Rinkeby. That will get us access to the Rinkeby network. Make sure you do it with a capital R. Okay, there we go. So we're going to say our desired chain ID is this, and we're going to put it in squiggly so it knows we're referring to some JavaScript here, active chain ID. And then we're going to have to close our third web provider. So we're going to go ahead and say third web provider, just like that. I'll format the code. And so there you go. Okay. Now our app is wrapped inside of the third web provider. So the entire app has access to third web. So that'll make it easy for us to log in, and anywhere we need third web data, we can get it. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and save, and it sometimes takes a second, this page to load, okay? But once it is loaded, you will see the home page showing up here. But Rinkeby is deprecated, so we won't be using this. We will be using, in place of Rinkeby, we'll be using Mumbai. So let's go ahead and see if it has Mumbai. It seems like it does. And that's what we're going to pass as our desired chain. And that's going to be our active chain ID. All right, guys. So now we're going to transition into adding the authentication functionality into our app. So what I want you to do is go ahead to this file go to the folder context and go to context.js. Go to this file right over here. All right. So one note that you should know about is this context.js. You probably saw on my screen, there was solution.js, but that file is supposed to be hidden. So in yours, you wouldn't see it. You guys wouldn't see that, okay? Because we're hiding the solution file from you. If you want to see it, click this, hit show hidden files, and then it'll show you everything, including the solution. But I only recommend looking at that if you're really, really stuck and can't get past it, okay? But the solution is there for you the whole time. All right, so now we have imported some of these files from thirdweb SDK, which you're gonna need later. So for example, we need this use vote hook, this use token hook, use address, use MetaMask, and use disconnect, okay? For now, I don't want you to worry about these two. I only want you to worry about these three. We're gonna use these three hooks right here to make sure that our connect wallet button is working, okay? So the connect wallet button is when you start your app and you have the connect wallet button show up on your right-hand side, this one. We're just gonna go ahead and make that functionality work, okay? So in order to be able to do that, by the way, we have some notes here for you too. So if you wanted to attempt this on your own, right? All the notes are there for you and what each function should do. The bodies of the function are written. Make sure you don't change the bodies of the function. Make sure you add stuff to the bodies of the function, but don't change their names because all their names are important and they're being referenced in other files. And so if you like change the name or you make it lowercase or uppercase or whatever, this create proposal function will not work. And then you'll have to go in other files and make it work. Okay. So just keep these variable names as they are. All right. So we've imported all of this stuff. Now let's go ahead and add it. So we're going to add this disconnect wallet and then connect with MetaMask. All right, here you can see this note that says get the address using thirdweb's convenient hooks. So I'm going to remove where it says true. And we're just going to go ahead and say use address. All right, next up for connect with MetaMask, we're going to use the hook that we got from up here from thirdweb SDK. And we're going to go ahead and say use MetaMask, okay, and that will give us access to MetaMask. And then we're going to also disconnect wallet, and so we're going to use the disconnect hook here. Okay, so now our address is set, our connect with MetaMask is set, and disconnect wallet is set. Now what we have to do is we have to go down and we have to export all of these. Luckily, our exporting is already done. So normally you would have to export this. Okay, you'll have to make sure that you say connect with MetaMask, disconnect wallet and address. All right, so what we're gonna do is technically this address that we have here is really the current user address, okay? Whoever the current logged in user is. So I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna right click this too and rename all references and I'll say current user address. All right, now just double check if you scroll down and make sure that current user address is right here as well. And so we're giving this off to our context provider, okay? And if I go to my context, if I go outside of my context now to my login file, so let's go to components and I'll go to my login.js component. You can see that login is already destructuring connect with MetaMask. So that's the one that we provided it. Okay, it's getting it from our context. And then down here, you can see that on click, we're giving it that connect with MetaMask button. Now, what we're gonna do if we wanna test this out and run this. Now, MetaMask sometimes doesn't like working from an iframe, so meaning within this window, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit that new tab at the top, right? This says open a new tab. So we'll open this up, okay? And let's try running this and let's see what happens. And if you're wondering what the hell is happening with Kazi's shirt, that's just because it's a green shirt and I have a green screen behind me. And so it thinks I'm not really wearing anything. Okay, we'll wait for this app to load. And then as soon as it loads, we'll hit that connect button. All right, so if we have done everything correctly, fingers crossed, didn't mean to print that, whoops. Fingers crossed, if I hit connect with MetaMask, my MetaMask should pop up at the top. So let's see, connect with MetaMask, Boom, there you go. It's showing that. I'll hit next, connect, and something should happen. Great. So now we're getting an error, which is totally okay. Okay. All we were trying to make work right now is a connect wallet. Okay. So there's some other part of the app that's complaining. That's fine. We're going to fix that. No problem. All right. So now that we've connected the wallet with this connect with MetaMask that we added to our context.js, now we should actually be able to go to the deployed version of the app. So make sure you don't do it in preview because that won't work. So go here. And now we should be able to hit connect with MetaMask and our MetaMask boy thing should pop up. Okay, boom, right there. Let's click that and connect. Boom, look at that. It brings me straight to the home page of the website, right? And I can see APE Coin DAO, make a proposal, and it's giving me whether it's against, for, or abstain, how much has been against, for, or abstained, and then a way to disconnect my wallet. Now, this over here that you're seeing, you can notice that there's a text in here and it says this is a dummy proposal. Okay, so this is fake dummy data that we have hard coded for you. So you could just see what it looks like. But then what we're going to do in our next steps is we're going to auto populate it with actual data, right? So for example, if I show you this, if we go to our index.js, you could see I have this state variable here called dummy data. And inside of dummy data, I have who the proposer is. Okay. And I gave it a wallet address. I'm telling it what the votes are, right? So you could see 30,443, right? And then 4 has 43,000. And you could see that 4 here has 43,000. Abstain has 3,400, which is right there. So we're clearly pulling this from the dummy data, and the dummy data is inside of our index.js. All right, so if we go back to our code and we go back to our login page, okay, you can see that we have given our connect with MetaMask, but something else that we've actually done that's really cool. If we go to, I believe, our index, we scroll down. Actually, let's go to our header. So let's get out of pages. Let's go to header.js. And inside of header, you're going to see that we have the disconnect button, right? And since you added it to context, you can see we're getting our disconnect wallet from our context. And right over here, we're giving it to our on click. So now when you actually click this disconnect wallet, you'll get disconnected as well. All right, let's go ahead and hit disconnect wallet. And first, let's go ahead and just refresh the apps to make sure that all of our current changes are up to date. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hit that disconnect wallet button. Okay, so I'm clicking it, but nothing is really happening. So give me 1 second here. Let's try it one more time. Boom, there you go. I hit disconnect wallet and you could see it's disconnected. The reason why it's working is if you go to your header in your components, you'll see we're already extracting disconnect wallet. And then we're saying, hey, if the disconnect wallet function is there, then on click, disconnect the wallet. Otherwise, just console log disconnect button clicked, okay? So in our case, we do have access to it. So then let's go ahead, connect with blah, blah, blah. Let's hit disconnect and boom, you see, it just disconnects you right away. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's go back to our thirdweb dashboard and we're gonna go ahead to our APE Coin DAO vote that you created earlier. And let's go ahead at the top right. You see where it says create proposal. Click that. So we're going to create a proposal, and we're going to say hire a React.js developer. Okay. So I'm going to submit this proposal, and then MetaMask is going to pop up, and it's going to show me this. I'm going to go ahead and hit confirm. Okay. And then it's going to. Okay, let's see. We've gotten an error. All right, so there you go. My proposal is created successfully. All I did is I just removed the emoji. Maybe it has problems when you do it with an emoji. So if it failed for you, like it failed for me the first time, just do this and you should be fine. Now, we have one proposal created already. All right, so now that we have this in here, let's go back to our app and we're gonna try to actually pull all of this data. And how we're gonna do this is inside of our, let's go back to our context. So inside of our context, let's go down. We're going to go ahead and get all of the proposals here. Okay. And I'm going to say, for getting all the proposals, I'm going to say const proposals. And in order to get my proposals, okay, what I need to do is I need access to my contract address for voting. So I need access to the voting contract address. So how I'm going to do that is let's click to our home page and let's copy this vote contract address. And so I'm going to now go up top right here where we have let vote. And I'm going to now say use vote. And I'm going to pop in that contract address. Now this use vote hook, we've already used, pulled it from here. And you can see we have a use token hook as well. Okay. So I'm now going to go ahead and say proposal is equal to await vote.getAll. So this will get all of my votes. And then we can console log these proposals. And then we can also simply return them. All right. Now, so watch this. If everything you've done correctly here, if you go to your app, it should automatically pull your proposal. And if you actually see, it already is. Look at that. It's pulling your proposal from the proposal that you've created, right? So for example, if I go here, I can see hire React.js developer and it's actually pulling it. So that is fantastic. I mean, that is so slick. That happens so quickly. Now, let me show you all the kind of behind the scenes logic that allowed it to get rendered to the front end. So let's go ahead and see this, right? So we have this function, get all proposals. Now we need our entire app to have access to this get all proposals. And so what we have done is we've sent it to our provider, get all proposals. And then let's go to our index.js, and inside of our index.js, you'll see we have this use effect hook. What it's doing is it's calling our get all proposals function. And since it's a promise, we're saying once you get it, then check if there are proposals. So that's why it's checking the length. If there are proposals, then I want you to reverse the proposals. So we call .reverse on it. And the point of this .reverse here is so it reverses the order, right? So you actually see it in a descending order, meaning the most recent ones first. And then we go ahead and console log it. So you could see it. Let's go back to the app. I'm going to hit inspect. Let's click console. And you can see I'm getting these arrays of objects here, right? And you can see inside of it, I have a proposal. And that proposal says hire a React.js developer. And then it has a bunch of different information in here that's not super useful for us, but it can also tell us the votes. And we can see it has votes and it has how many, what are the types of those votes and how many votes those have. Okay, so let's get out of here. Let's close this. So it's already pulling the proposals. Like, so for example, if you made another one, it will also pull that too. So if I go ahead, hit create a proposal, and I'll say hire a Next.js developer. Okay, let's hit submit proposal. And make sure you have Matic in your wallet. Okay, hit confirm. Make sure you're on the Mumbai network. You have Matic in your wallet. Okay, so a couple of things, just make sure. If you get an error, no problem. Just refresh, try again. If you added emojis, remove them. Try it without emojis. I think sometimes the emojis can throw it off, is what I've noticed at least. Maybe you might notice something different. If you notice that they don't really give you problems, but it was something else, let me know that too. So here, proposal successfully created. And you could see hire Next.js developer showing up, but it's saying the state is currently pending, which means that it won't be showing up yet in our app. But once that state is not pending anymore, it should show up right away. There you go. You could see our app is automatically pulling hire Next.js developer. So that is a really nice experience. And this is what's helping do the rendering, right? It's calling the function and, showing it out onto the screen. So now, well, you might be asking, okay, how is proposals actually showing up, Kazi? I see you're calling the function. I see your console logging here. How it's actually showing is let's go to Command F for proposals. And here you see we have proposals, and then we're checking if that proposal exists. If they do, then we're iterating through the proposals, and then we're building it out in a proposal card, okay, to get the keys. All right, so you can see that we're just rendering out the proposals. That is what's allowing the proposals to show up, okay? If there are proposals, then show them, okay? And if there aren't, if we're in a situation where we don't have proposals, right? So you can see the whole thing is wrapped in a ternary operator with proposals. So if proposals exist, do this. If proposals don't exist, well, then what I want you to do is show the dummy data. You guys see that right there? Dummy data. So this here is the structure of the one proposal we get, right? So imagine this is a proposal right here. The top part of that proposal is the proposer, who proposed, okay? And then this part over here, it says testing or whatever, right? We said hire a React.js developer. That's the description. And so this is the data structure, okay? So meaning like that object that we get back, this is how we can parse it. We can grab the proposer from the proposal. We can grab the description from it and a few other things. Now, there are a few other things like the status. So it can say defeated. It can say successful. So for example, if most people were against and the vote is over, it'll say defeated. If most people were for and it's over, it'll say successful. Okay, so that's the status/state. And then you have a vote types array. So this is like, okay, I have 3 types. I have type against, type for, type abstain. And then we have the vote count at the bottom that shows me, okay, against is 11,000, for is 0,000, and abstain is 0, or sorry, not 0,000, what the hell, 0 APE coins, and abstain is 0 APE coins. Okay, so this is the data structure. So if you understand this, that's going to be valuable for you as we continue through the build. All right, now we're going to make this function create proposal. And what this does is it create a proposal to mint tokens to the DAO's treasury. Okay, so let's get to work on this create proposal guy. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to have an amount. So I'll just set the amount here to 100,000. So if you do underscore, that's the same as saying this, but this is just easier to read. All right, so we're gonna get rid of this amount here actually. So what we're gonna do is gonna be a lot simpler, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say, hey, get me the proposal, and the proposal will be, we're gonna await vote.propose, and this is what we're gonna propose. We're gonna pass in the description the user gave us, and that's it. Okay, and then we're just gonna console log the proposal. Okay, so this statement right here, just this command right here, will automatically create a proposal for us, and it'll add it to our third web. So we're gonna see another proposals pop up in there. Now let's go above and finish our is executable function. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right here, and for our is executable, it's gonna take in an ID, okay, and it's gonna check if the proposal given is executable. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say const can execute, and then this is gonna return to us a Boolean, and I'm just gonna say vote can execute, and it'll take in an ID, okay, and then we'll just return can execute. All right, boom, done. And then we're gonna also check if the user has voted for the given proposal. So this will actually check if the whatever the user was, you know, mostly the logged in user, if that user has voted or not. And so we're gonna say await vote.has voted, and we're gonna take in the address of that user as well. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead down here, and we're gonna say has voted, and then we're just gonna return the res. All right, we're gonna call this current user address, okay, because that's what we're choosing to call this. So everywhere you see address, change it with current user address, and so there we go. And then that should be what check if voted should look like. All right, so for the vote for, I'm gonna go ahead and say try, and then I'm gonna set our delegation, and I'm gonna say await token dot get delegation of, and we're gonna get current user address. Okay, and then if the user has delegation, okay, delegation So this will basically just check if the coins have been delegated, right? If they have been, then we're gonna say delegate to address. All right, and we're gonna say vote type. And let's go down here. We're gonna say if the type is against, here's what I want to happen. Okay, so if the type is against, I want to set vote type to vote type dot against. All right, so vote type, if you're seeing, hey, what is this vote type? It's actually we're calling it from thirdweb. So we're calling it right here, vote type. Okay, we're importing it. So let's go ahead and go vote type dot against, and then we'll say else if type is 4. Okay, if this is the case, we're gonna say vote type is equal to vote type dot 4. Okay, and then we're gonna go down here. We're gonna say else vote type is equal to vote type abstain, because that's really the only choice left at that point. Abstain, just like this. Okay, so let's get out of this else here, and I'm gonna say my result is, and we're gonna await check if voted. We're gonna pass it the ID. If I have not voted, all right, so this, in other words, this is really has voted. Okay, so you could change that. So then it's like, okay, so if the user has not voted, then effectively I want you to await and go ahead and vote. Okay, so then we're gonna go ahead and call we're gonna place a vote. All right, that's what we're gonna do. If you haven't, like, so if you clicked it and you hadn't voted yet, then we're gonna place a vote. Otherwise, we're going to say you have already voted for this proposal. Okay, and we can even make it fun. We can say, looks like you have already voted for this proposal. Okay, so if you have already voted, it will detect that with this. Okay, and then at the end of all of this try catch block, we're gonna go ahead and say catch, and we'll say error. Okay, and if there is an error, then I just want you to console log it. So we can just go ahead and say console log. There we go. Okay, so this is our vote for. All right. So if you actually scroll up here and you see this error that says property delegate to does not exist on type string, we have not given any value to token. So let's go ahead and set that up. So we have this use token hook that we have. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to say use token. Okay, and then this is going to take in the token address that you got from thirdweb. So go back to your home page on thirdweb, and on your home page you're going to see your token. Copy the contract address for your token. Okay, so make sure it says token right here. Okay, contract type, and then just paste that. So now you have token. Okay, now that error should go away because delegate to does exist on it. Okay, and then make this a capital F here for vote type dot 4. Make it a capital F, and that'll get rid of that little error that was showing up. Okay, and just to kind of recap and understand what's happening here, this part of the code is basically saying, hey, delegate your custom tokens you own to be used to vote. Okay, this part here is determining what the user voted, and then our parts underneath it is check if the user has voted. Okay, if they haven't voted, then cast their vote, and if they have already voted, then just let them know you've already voted. And here we're just catching any errors that happen. Okay, so that's really what's happening in this entire script. It looks scary, but it's really not. All right, guys, so let's go back to our app and see if you can create a proposal and vote for it. So if you had done everything correctly in here, you should be able to do something, okay, with it. So I'm going to go ahead and say hire an Angular developer. Okay, let's go ahead and hit submit and see what happens. Okay, something really weird happened, but our MetaMask popped up. So let's go ahead and hit confirm and let's see what will happen, okay? So let's fix this. Probably some icon is showing up, but it's telling us that it's submitting our proposal here. So that's a good sign. And let's take a look at our MetaMask. Okay. And let's go ahead and speed this up. And we'll fix this UI bug that's happening. But let's just see if our vote is being casted or not. That's the main thing. Because if our vote or if our proposal is being created, then you know the main functionality of the app is working. So our proposal looks like went through. Let's refresh and let's look at here as well. Let's refresh our third web and see if in our third web we got a new proposal. Oh, nice. Look at that. We just got a brand new proposal. Hire an Angular developer, proposed by, and it seems like it's pulling my wallet address. And let's see here. Yo, that is sick, right? Like our Angular developer proposal is coming up. So that is beautiful. All right. So basically that little error that happened, it was Toastify and it was missing its CSS. So that's why you didn't really see anything. So we're just going to go ahead and import this inside of our index.js. Okay. You probably will already have this, but it just wasn't there in mine. So, cause I want to give away all the front end, I'm going to give you this. Don't worry. So then you don't have to deal with that stupid problem. Let's go back here and let's make another proposal, and I'll just call it another proposal. And let's hit submit and let's see what happens. And now you can see it looks beautiful, right? Submitting proposal comes up, looks really nice. And I can hit confirm. And now, you know, if the proposal is done, it will tell me it's successfully done too. So that's the really nice part. So I'm going to speed it up in the meantime. Just keep paying for it and hitting speed up. Okay. And then whenever it's done, you can go ahead and hit refresh. All right. So this is good now. Let's get out of here. We have our app working, right? Our Toastify thing was showing up at the top, submitting a proposal, it looked clean, looked nice. And now we know our proposal has went through. If we refresh on third web, we'll be able to see it. And then if we go back and we refresh here, we'll be able to see it. Now it's time to vote. So let's see if our voting would work, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and hit open up inspect element as well so I could see what's happening. And let's go ahead and hit 4 here. And it says false has voted. So you see, it notices that I haven't voted yet. So that's a really good sign. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit confirm. All right. So I hit confirm. And now let's see how long it takes for my vote to cast. Cast vote with reason is what you should see. It's queued up. And I'm going to go ahead and hit refresh on third web as well. So take a look if my vote has come through yet. I don't think it has. Okay, not yet. It's still loading. And now let's speed it up so it happens just a wee bit faster. Okay, speed it up some more. All right. Let's refresh. Okay, so sometimes this can take a second. Don't worry about it. It's not too big of a problem. We'll just wait it out. 10% increase. Can we do aggressive? Doesn't seem like it's allowing us to go much faster. There we go. Okay. So we could see that we voted for this and there is 700,000 APE coins worth of power towards this proposal. Meaning if somebody wants to overthrow this, they need to vote. They need to have like more than 700,000 coins, APE coins to beat my vote. So it either needs to be multiple people that need to vote that have more than 700,000 APE coins, or it needs to be somebody who's like richer, right, in this community than me, who needs to vote and overthrow me. Otherwise, this is not going to get overthrown. And this another proposal is going to get passed in favor for. Okay. So after 2 minutes pass, pretty much the proposal window is going to close. And you see, it says this one says defeated. Pretty soon, this one is going to say successful because we have a 4 and we don't have any against or abstains. So it seems like it's going to go through. Okay. So there you go. It looks like almost all of the functionality of our app is working, right? We're not really facing any problems. All right, now I'm going to try to vote as a second person. So it looks like there's multiple people voting here. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And yeah, and you can see, right, it's actually pulling the 700,000 APE coins. It can see that too, which is super cool. Now I'm going to come in and log in as a different user to vote. So let's go ahead and let's actually try voting as the same user, and let's see. It goes, looks like you've already voted for this proposal. So it can detect very clearly that you have voted. So that's good. Now I'm going to switch my user. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my other user, and I'm going to connect to the site, and let's go here. And now I'm going to vote against, and let's see what happens. I tried voting against, and it says address is not defined. So let's go ahead and see where we're using address and where it's not defined. All right, so here this is we're using address, but when we should really be using current user address. So let's go back to our app. Let's hit refresh, and let's try that same thing again, and let's see what happens. So that vote has ended. Okay, so that vote actually just ended because this is successful, because 2 minutes passed, and we had 2 minutes passed, and we already had somebody voting for, and nobody else voted in that time frame. So that looks like it succeeded. All right, so now you can see that I have this whole thing coming up. It says successful. Okay, and we have this execute button here as well. So this execute button would be like if you wanted to set it up. So like, let's just say that you wanted to hire a developer, and you knew exactly which developer it was, and then you had their wallet address right here. You could hit this execute button once this vote passed, and it would automatically fund their account with money. Okay, so that's the really cool part about this. You could do it like that. Now, I'm going to create a proposal from a different account, and let's see what happens. Let's see if we run into any problems. I'm going to say, eat a cookie. No, hold on. Eat ice cream tonight. So let's see what we want to vote for. We want to eat ice cream or cookie, or what do we want to eat? So let's see. Let's go ahead and start with ice cream. I'm going to try to create a proposal, and you're going to see I get this error that says proposer votes below threshold. And this basically implies that I haven't delegated my coins to this DAO. And so therefore I'm not able to like create a proposal with it or do anything. So we're going to go ahead and fix that now. Okay, so let's go back to our app. We're going to write a use effect hook that's going to catch a scenario where the user who hasn't delegated their coins can use this DAO. Okay, so we're going to create a use effect hook, and use effect, we have a function, and then our dependency array is going to be empty. So it's going to just fire off on page refresh. And it's going to be an async function. I'm going to go ahead and say try. So we're going to try and see if we have this delegation, and I'm going to await it. Okay, we're going to get delegation of the current user. So I'm going to say current user address. Okay, and then if delegation. So we're going to actually repeat this code, and we could probably even just copy some of this. So this part over here, we can just copy this and paste this, because we're effectively doing this same thing here. Okay, so I'm going to say, boom, paste. Okay. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to say catch. And for catch, we're going to do the same thing. Hey, if there is an error, then just console log, and we're going to say error.message. And we'll follow it up with error. And then since this is a IIFE, okay, IIFE, immediately invoked function expression. That just basically means that since this function doesn't have a name, you need to call it right away, because if you don't, then you won't ever be able to reference it by anything. So I'm just going to call it right away. Okay, so this block of code will just call itself, and yeah, it'll call itself whenever the app loads. So let's go ahead. Now we're getting this error that says use effect is not defined. Not a problem. We're just going to go ahead and import use effect from React. So I'm going to go ahead and say use effect, and then we should be Gucci. Okay, and then let's go to our app, and let's go ahead and hit refresh. Okay. And now let's try making a proposal. So proposal, eat ice cream tonight. Let's go ahead and put an ice cream emoji there. I'm gonna hit submit. There we go. Now it says submitting proposal. Okay, getting an error again. All right, now what I want you to do is just switch back to the main account. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna reject this. So just ignore this for now. Okay, don't worry about that. Go back to your main account. So I'm just gonna switch back to my main account that I was on, which is my BTSCP in this case. And then I'm gonna make the same proposal with the main account. And let's see if we can vote from the main account and another account. So let's try that. That's important because we don't also want maybe everybody to make a proposal. We want it to be where only like we as the owners of an account can make the proposal. So let's start with this for now. And let's take a look at our MetaMask and see what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and say speed up. And then we'll wait, and it looks like the proposal has happened. So if I hit refresh, it should pop up pretty much right away. All right, there we go. I got my ice cream proposal. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm for eating ice cream. So I'm gonna vote for 4. And this popped up. Let's go ahead and hit confirm. And now we'll see what happens. Okay, so now we have one person voting for. Let's just double check that our vote is going through. I'll just speed it up a little bit. Okay, but in the meantime, while that vote is pending, I'm gonna go ahead and switch. So that vote shouldn't be pending anymore actually, but let's refresh and that vote should be showing up. And you could see that 700,000 worth of APE coins have voted for ice cream tonight. Now remember, this is not you actually putting your money on the line. It's just saying that your vote has 700,000 APE coins worth of power. Okay, that's all that means. Now let's go to our BTSCP2 account. Okay, so go to your second account, and from your second account, just go ahead and see if you could vote. So I'm gonna go ahead and say against, and boom, look at that. It actually allows me to vote. And let's go ahead and hit confirm. And now let's go to our app here. I'm gonna hit refresh. Okay, and there you go. You can actually see, actually, hold on. I think our vote is still processing. It hasn't happened yet. So I could speed it up. Now it has happened. Let's refresh. Dun, 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 dun. Let's take a look. Oh, I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. So that means I must have voted without having my coins be delegated, right? That's probably what that actually means. Okay, so let's see what problem we're running into here. Okay, we're still running into that error. Okay, let's go back. Let's go to our dashboard and let's hit refresh on this ice cream one. So what happened the first time? It was actually delegating my tokens towards the thing. Now I can actually vote. So let's go ahead and vote. Okay, so delegation just means I'm allowing, allowing my vote to have power with this APE coins. Okay, so I'm delegating my coins towards the power of voting and these, towards these proposals. Now I can actually vote. So this is working as expected. So this is good. This is good. All right, so our vote is now pending. Okay, our delegation is complete, so that's good. Let's go ahead and speed up our vote. It says queued, and once it's done, you'll see that it'll be a green text underneath it, which would imply that it is done. There we go, and now we could see August 2nd, and it is done. Okay, let's go ahead and hit refresh. And let's see if we have somebody. Let's wait for it. Let's wait to get the dynamic data. Okay. Let's go to our dashboard and let's see if we voted for it or not. Okay, we have active. Awesome. So you saw how we were able to do that. Now we can actually even make another one, right? Eat cookies later. And let me put a cookie here and I'll hit submit. And now watch this. From my second account, it's also allowing me. So let me just reject all of these transactions for now so I can just show this from scratch. Let's go ahead and just refresh. Now you'll be able to see from my second account, since I've delegated my tokens, I can now make a proposal from this account as well. So eat cookies tonight. Let's put a cookie and let's hit submit. Okay, and now you're gonna see my MetaMask pop up right there above my head. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit confirm. And now that proposal should be popping up soon. Okay, so we'll just wait for it. And if it allows you to, just go ahead and speed it up. Okay. All right, there we go. Our proposal seems to have happened. So now with the second account, I should have been able to create my proposal. And boom, there you go. I was able to actually create my proposal with the second account. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this build. It was a ton of fun to build it together with you from scratch. We had already done a lot of the front end work, which means that if you followed along, hopefully it saved you a ton of time from having to do every single thing from scratch. So make sure you fork the replit below because it'll save your life. It'll, you know, be able to give you all the front end, all the styling, the components. So that way you're only writing the Web3 logic and doing a lot of the third web stuff. With that said, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you picked up something, a new skill out of it. And just so you have some context, right? Blockchain world, there's a lot of opportunity there. A lot of developers making, you know, $70,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year. And a bunch of developers I personally know, they're making $130,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year or more. And so if you're good in this community and you're a great developer and you're a good person, you can go pretty far. And this industry is just booming. So if you learn these skills, you'll be very, you know, sought after. And if you use something like thirdweb, it makes it a lot easier for you, right? To be able to do all of these things, it simplifies the process and it just makes it a much more enjoyable experience instead of having to just write every single line of Solidity code all by yourself. And that just makes things more complicated. With that said, I love your beautiful face. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.